Starting in 5 seconds. Sir, very few concerns in the country are selling shares to the ordinary clerks and other employees because they do not want these ordinary people to become shareholders as they will have their say in the annual journal meetings. They confine to those own shareholders who will vote for their own persons to become managing directors and chairmen, etc. This is how manipulation takes place. The government expects to get rupees 5 crores out of this measure. What are the other measures by which government could possibly get more money? I would like to know from my honorable friend who is now disturbing the finance minister what is the position in the cashew nut industry. He may be able to tell us. The point is, he does not apply his mind and he goes on disturbing the finance minister. That is the whole difficulty. The cashew nut not even paying 12%, they are paying 10% or 6%. The question is, some of these companies have been converted into junks. This is the case with all the industries, whether it the textile industry or jute industry. When they are converted into junks, they get the government to take them over. Government goes on taking them over the 6 textile mills. What about healthy mills? Why should they not be taken over immediately? In this case, this particular attempt which the finance minister is making will be nothing. It will be an eyewash. What are they going to get? They are going to get rupees 5 crores. If they had demonetized, it would have brought thousands of crores. I expected this time that in the budget they will at least say something about declaration that if somebody declares black money could have within 3 months or 6 months they will be taxed as per the income tax act without any fine, and that money could have come into the hands of the government. It was tried on by my honorable friend, but the result was not much. Still, that should have been attempted. In this case, you are taking only rupees 5 crores from the companies while rupees 300 crores from salaried employees. Sir, unless the key industries are nationalized, our economy is not going to improve. When we requested that Hindustan Motors should be taken over, the then minister said that it was a junk. They are manufacturing ambassador cars, which are good cars, though people say everything in that car minus the horn makes noise. When there was a lockout in the Standard Motors in Madras, we could have taken over that company. Automobile industry should have taken over. Unless the key industries are nationalized, our economy is not going to improve. This inflation cannot be checked only by robbing the people on that one hand and limiting the dividend to 12%. So far as takeover is concerned, I do not know who is going to take over whom. The highest bidder will take over the country. Therefore, I would request the Honorable Finance Minister not to rely solely on this measure because rupees 5 crores would be nothing. The monopoly houses should be taken over. Otherwise, they will hold the country to ransom. During the national misfortunes, like when lakhs of refugees came from other side in starvation conditions, their people were minting money. At that time, these sharks went to the borders and sold daily necessities at fabulous prices and minted money at the cost of starvation of these people. They want to mint money and maintain their profits at the cost of anything. I am opposing this bill only because this will not serve the purpose. Only a very small number of companies will be covered by this. Most of the monopoly companies will function in such a way that they do not declare any dividend at all. What about the control of their expenses? By this measure, you are going to get only rupees 5 crores, whereas by freezing the emoluments and dearness allowance, you are getting rupees 300 crores. I want the finance minister to let us know what more measures are likely to be taken to control these big business and monopoly houses to curb them and reduce or minimize their profits and take over them. Because unless the means of production are taken over by the state, nothing is going to happen in this country. Moreover, government should have a close check on these monopoly house owners that they do not hide the government revenue and pay honestly, that they maintain proper books of accounts, etc., and declare it to the authorities. With these words, I support the motion of disapproval moved by my honorable friend and request the honorable minister to make a statement on it. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. Honorable members, while Sardar Patel, with his extraordinary abilities, had accomplished the challenging objective of geographic and political integration of the nation, the task of economic integration remained incomplete. Our traders and entrepreneurs always faced difficulties in sale and purchase of their goods and in complying with different tax regimes prevalent in different states. Now, with the implementation of a comprehensive tax reform like the GST, the concept of one nation, one tax, one market has been realized. GST is proving instrumental in establishing an honest and transparent system of trade and commerce, which is also benefiting the country's youth. This system, while reducing the difficulties faced by traders, has enhanced their ease of doing business across the country. I congratulate my compatriots for wholeheartedly embracing the new system in a short span of time in the interest of a better future for the country in spite of the initial bottlenecks. My government is continuously improving the GST regime, keeping in view the suggestions being received from business community. The primary focus of my government has been to enable our youth to earn their livelihood with dignity while also creating employment opportunities for others. In order to facilitate self employment, my government has introduced wide ranging reforms which are being appreciated globally. As a result of these reforms, India's position has improved by 65 places in the ease of doing business, ranking from 142 in 2014 to 77 now. This is an extraordinary achievement. Honorable member, during the last 4.5 years, the economy of the country has been growing at a rate of 7.3% on an average. India is playing a significant role in international trade. While India's contribution to the world GDP was 2.6% in 2014, it has increased to 3.3% in 2017 as per the latest reports. India has emerged as the sixth largest economy in the world. This is an opportune moment for the country to play a decisive role in the fourth industrial revolution, and my government is committed to ensure that our citizens take full benefit of this opportunity. As a result of the Make in India initiative, effective outcomes in the field of industrial development and employment generation are clearly visible. Now, India is the second largest manufacturer of mobile phones in the world. Recently, the milestone of converting diesel locomotives into 10,000 horsepower electric engines has also been established by India. As a part of Make in India initiative, Asia's largest medtech zone is being established in Andhra Pradesh. Defense corridors are being established in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, which will not only strengthen our security through establishment of production facilities for defense equipment but also provide employment to the youth. Soon, the passengers will also be able to avail the ultra modern facilities of our faster train Vande Bharat Express. I also want to congratulate the scientists and engineers of our country who are tirelessly working for recognition of India's prowesses in this era of modern technology. The scientists and engineers from ISRO in particular are proving their preeminent position in the world by setting new records in launching satellites. I, on the behalf of the nation, convey our best wishes to our scientists and engineers for Mission Gaganyaan. The focus of my government on timely completion of tasks with accountability has resulted in increasing the confidence of the people in government functioning and has also enhanced the pace of development. My government has established a reputation for time bound completion of projects. Many projects were delayed in completion had become synonymous with injustice to common people of this country, such as India's longest Bogibel Railroad Bridge in Assam, Western Peripheral Expressway near Delhi, Kollam Bypass in Kerala have been fast tracked and completed. By completing these projects, my government has done justice to the resources of the nation and aspirations of the people. Developing modern infrastructure for economic development as per the needs of 21st century is the aspiration of every Indian, especially the middle class. Sensitive to their aspirations, my government is completing new projects at a fast pace. The airport terminal constructed at Prayagraj in a record period of 11 months is an evident example. Last year, the country's first container vessel sailed along the national waterway from Kolkata and reached Varanasi. Eastern Peripheral Expressway, started in November 2015, has also been dedicated to the nation last year. My government believes that eastern part of India comprising East Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa and the state of Northeast has the potential to become a new growth engine. Therefore, my government is relentlessly striving to strengthen the infrastructure related to railways, highways, waterways, and airways in eastern India. Under Udan Yojana, 19 new airports are being built in eastern India, and of these, 5 are coming up in the northeast. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. Honorable members, be it the country's fastest train, the highest bridge, the longest sea link, the longest tunnel, construction of highways at double the speed or gauge conversion of railway tracks, modern facelift of railway stations or metro projects in cities, air connectivity among small towns, or construction of new waterways. My government is rapidly developing modern infrastructure in all these areas, keeping environment conservation in mind. My government is moving forward on the electric mobility front in order to make the latest technology based systems available in our cities so that they can become growth engines of the economy. Modern facilities are being developed in 100 cities under the Smart City mission. The nation is moving at a fast pace in the civil aviation sector also. This sector has seen a double digit growth during the last 4 years. More than 12 crore and 30 lakh people traveled by air during 2017-18, and this number is increasing constantly. This transformation offers a glimpse of an India on the move. Under the Udan scheme, 12 lakh seats have been made available to people at lower tariffs. This has provided the common person with an opportunity of air travel. In addition, in the last 4.5 years, government has established more than 300 new passport seva kendras in the country. Prior to 2014, there were 77 passport seva kendras, which have now increased to more than 400. People are no longer required to repeatedly visit big cities for getting their passports. In the all round development of the country, a pivotal role is played by our laborer brothers and sisters, small and medium entrepreneurs, engineers, auditors, doctors, teachers, scientists, and every professional. All these responsible citizens have lived up to this saying of Sant Ravidas that work is the best form of worship. That is, those who deem work as God and worship it day and night are blessed with all the worldly joys and contentment. Our hardworking professionals, whether linked directly or indirectly with the government, are watchful of the process of nation building. When their hopes and aspirations are combined with the willpower of government employees, the result is unprecedented as witnessed by the nation today. My government is also supporting the employees in their hour of need as such. My government has worked continuously to strengthen the spirit of cooperative federalism enshrined in the Constitution. It has been the endeavor of the government to enable the state governments to undertake development work in their respective states in a more effective manner. In line with this objective, my government took the decision to provide the states with 10% additional share in taxes as per the recommendations of the Finance Commission. At this time, the whole world is talking about Kumbh underway at Prayagraj. For this colossal event, world class infrastructure and other facilities on a permanent basis have been developed at a fast pace. The confluence of Ganga Yamuna Saraswati is setting an impressive example of cleanliness and modern management. Ganga is not just a river for us but is like a mother to us, a living symbol of our culture and faith. To keep Ganga clean is our sacred duty. Under the Namami Ganga mission, projects worth rupees 25,000 crore have been approved so far. My government is engaged with the task of cleaning up of the river Ganga by diverting dozens of major drains, stopping flow of industrial effluents, and by setting up several sewage treatment plants in the cities. Honorable members, every citizen and the government are duty bound to honor the contribution of national heroes, carrying forward the tradition of honoring the builders of modern India. My government has dedicated to the nation the National Salt Satyagraha Memorial at Dandi on the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Kranti Mandir, a museum in Delhi dedicated to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, has been opened to public this month. The government has also instituted Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Disaster Management Award in his honor. The government has developed five sacred places associated with Baba Saheb Ambedkar as Panchtirth. The nation has paid tribute to the Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel, by building the Statue of Unity, which is the tallest statue in the world. My government is setting up museums in various states in the memory of the country's tribal freedom fighters. My government has conferred the Bharat Ratna on Mahatma Madan Mohan Malviya and Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 2015. This year, it has been decided to confer Bharat Ratna on Nanaji Deshmukh, Bhupen Hazarika, and Pranav Mukherjee by conferring national awards on the basis of merit and without any discrimination to those citizens who have worked selflessly for the welfare of the people. My government has demonstrated country's commitment towards the ideals of sacrifice and service. This month, to commemorate the Prakash Parv of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the government has released a special coin. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. Export competitiveness, however, is only a function of the competitiveness of the entire economy. The poor state of our infrastructure is reducing our export competitiveness. The government has given the highest priority to the development of our infrastructure. Our various initiatives in this regard will start bearing fruit very soon. We have taken decisive action to speed up clearances for power projects and to expand and upgrade our airports and ports. The Task Force on Infrastructure has formulated an ambitious national highway development project which I inaugurated in Bangalore earlier this month. Speed of movement of goods within the country and their shipment outside the country is critical for the success of our export efforts. The task force will soon present to the government an integrated national transport policy whose aim will be to create fast communication links for people and goods, cheaper and reliable telecommunication links with the rest of the world are crucial for increasing the competitiveness of Indian exports. A new telecom policy is now on the anvil. One of its major objectives is to rapidly increase tele density all over the country. It will ensure that the prices of domestic long distance and international calls follow the global trend of sharp decline and become as cheap in India as in the rest of the developed world in the shortest possible time. The new telecom policy will also be a big boon to India's software exporters. You are already aware of the many steps taken by the government to make India a superpower in information technology. We have received an excellent response from the industry in this regard. A recent happy development has been the signing of the free trade agreement between India and Sri Lanka, which will bring closer economic integration in the South Asian region. I am confident that this agreement will lead to greater trade between our two countries, which share so much in common. It will also lead to similar initiatives with our other neighbors in South Asia so that this region can become a closely linked economic region with benefits flowing to all the countries. Friends, the global economic slowdown in the last 2 years, coupled with the melting down in financial markets in East Asia and elsewhere, have hurt our exports. In such testing times, it is all the more necessary that you take this adverse development as a challenge for all here. I am happy to be with you this morning to participate in the India Tourism Day celebrations. I congratulate all those who have been named for receiving the award. I call upon others to emulate the examples set by the award winners. Redouble your efforts with a healthy competitive spirit and work hard to achieve excellence in attracting more tourists, both domestic and foreign. We all know that tourism generates many more jobs for relatively less investment. It is capable of creating large scale employment opportunities, particularly in rural and backward areas where there are many attractive sites for tourists. It is potentially the biggest generator of foreign exchange. It is a non polluting industry. While foreign tourists generate goodwill for India around the world, domestic tourism is a powerful contributor to the cause of national integration. The government has therefore accorded high priority for the development of this sector through appropriate policies and programs. Tourism has often been misunderstood as an elitist activity without realizing its economic, social, and civilization significance. Travel from one place to another for the purposes of pilgrimage, pleasure, experience, education, and business is not the exclusive privilege of any class of society but a universal phenomenon. Tourism brings together people of different cultures and regions and fosters better mutual understanding. For doing this effectively and durably, it demands conditions of peace. It is therefore rightly said that tourism is the greatest peace movement in the world. Therefore, I commend all of you working to promote tourism in India for also promoting the larger goal of peace and harmony around the world. Friends, on a day like this, it is natural for us to celebrate what India has achieved in the field of tourism. But it is equally necessary to focus our attention on the gap between our achievement and our own targets, and also the gap between the progress of tourism in India and that in other countries of Asia and the world. If there is any destination in the world which offers the widest choice to tourists, it is India. Nature tourism, culture tourism, exotic tourism, adventure tourism, and spiritual tourism. We have everything in India to cater to the diverse preferences of domestic and international tourists. Yet, our target of 5 million foreign tourists have not been achieved, whereas even smaller countries are getting tens of millions of tourists. Why is this happening? I readily acknowledge that, as in the case of other industries, inadequate infrastructure is a major constraint in the development of tourism. The infrastructure for tourism includes not only hotels, restaurants, and other site facilities but also basic amenities. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. We believe that the private sector, both in agriculture and industry, will provide the needed thrust to economic growth. However, government will have to continue to play a crucial role in strengthening the social and physical infrastructure. This cannot happen unless the fiscal health of the government at the center and in the states improves considerably and gains strength. The realization of the social and economic objectives of the ninth plan depends critically on our being able to finance public investment in crucial areas of social and physical infrastructure. We will fail in our duty if we do not improve the central and state finances. The center has started taking certain firm measures to fulfill our responsibility. I urge the state governments to put their finances in order. Dear Chief Ministers, recent trends in this regard are alarming. States' own contribution to plan financing has been almost non existent. States are increasingly borrowing even to finance their current consumption. Reluctance to mobilize additional resources to meet increasing expenditure is a reason for this. There is a need for austerity all around to contain wasteful public expenditure. Revenue should be increased through a greater attention to efficiency and productivity of the enormous human and financial resources we invest in our various schemes. Can we accomplish this without a political consensus to end competitive populism? We are aware that the center has taken certain measures in recent years that have had serious though indirect repercussions on state finances. As an example, I mention the implementation of the Fifth Pay Commission's recommendations. Adoption of these at the center has had a snowballing effect on states. I can assure you that we will be more considerate of states' interest in such matters in future. Charity begins at home. I would say the same about cutting the central government's expenditure. I urge all central ministries to enforce expenditure management rigorously. Why should we not have more essential expenditure in the social sector? Today, there is both a need and scope to raise resources through levying reasonable electricity tariffs and irrigation charges. Untargeted and unintended subsidies often lead to distortions in resource allocation besides failing to benefit the really poor. Reforms in the power sector, which we have been overdue, must be quickly implemented by states. That will lead to better financial annotations of the power sector, which underserves financial freedom for the time being. We should also address the problem of implicit subsidies. For instance, take the subsidies for higher education. Is it not paradoxical that even rich students pay college fees that in some states are less than what they spend on cold drinks? No government can afford to provide costly services free of cost universally. They must levy reasonable user charges wherever possible, particularly for non merit goods and services. What is required is a change in the mindset in the fixed inherited nations about subsidized public services. We should not be prisoners of the past. Subsidized services should be restricted to only those who cannot afford to pay. There is a tax competition among states to attract private investments. Such policies are harmful as states have lost tax revenue without much influencing investment decisions. This must stop. Better infrastructure, faster decision making, and investor friendly environment are more important in the decision making of the investor community. A practice that is pushing states towards fiscal crisis is the ready extension of guarantees to the borrowings of state level public enterprises. These guarantees may devolve on state governments as the financial health of many such enterprises is not sound. This practice will hurt states' credibility and adversely influence their credit ratings. Regional disparities are of concern both across and within states. Even some of the faster growing states have pockets that have lagged behind. We should exchange notes on lessons of such unbalanced development. Faster and widespread development is the medicine for many of the ills of our economy, polity, and society. Let us strive to live up to the expectations of the people, especially of the poorest, who are also the majority of voters. Modern communications and media have raised people's expectations. We cannot forget that many of the social, political, and communal tensions we see today are due to the non realization of these expectations. The 73rd and 74th Amendments to our Constitution 5 years ago provide for a third tier of government. Still, several states have not yet imbibed the spirit of these amendments. There is an urgent need for genuine devolution of political, administrative, and financial powers to the Panchayati Raj institutions. If democracy works at the national and state level, it will surely work at the village level also. Rather, democracy at the national and state levels will only be enriched by extending it to the grassroots. All of us cherish peaceful and orderly progress. Good governance is essential for this. The rule of law is a prerequisite for good governance. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. The annual budget is also an opportunity for the government to outline its priorities for the year to come. The priority of our government is clearly to provide additional resources for vulnerable sections, rural areas, and social and physical infrastructure creation. The government shall also endeavor to continue with the ongoing reform program and ensure the passage of the constitutional amendments to enable the implementation of the goods and service tax, the passage of insolvency and bankruptcy law, and other important reform measures which are pending before the parliament. Additionally, as I will detail later, we will undertake significant reforms such as the enactment of a law to ensure that all government benefits are conferred upon persons who deserve it by giving a statutory backing to the Aadhaar platform, bringing significant changes in the legislative framework relating to the transport sector so as to free it from constraints and restrictions, incentivizing gas discovery and exploration by providing calibrated marketing freedom, enactment of a comprehensive law to deal with resolution of financial firms, providing legal framework for dispute resolution in PPP projects and public utility contracts, undertaking important banking sector reforms and public listing of general insurance companies, and undertaking significant changes in FDI policies. Our agenda for the next year is therefore to transform India in this direction. My budget proposals are therefore built on this transformative agenda with 9 distinct pillars. Let me first take up agriculture and farmers' welfare. We are grateful to our farmers for being the backbone of the country's food security. We need to think beyond food security and give back to our farmers a sense of income security. Government will therefore reorient its interventions in the farm and non-farm sectors to double the income of the farmers by 2022. Our total allocation for agriculture and farmers welfare is rupees 36,000 crore. We need to address issues of optimal utilization of our water resources, create new infrastructure for irrigation, conserve soil fertility with balanced use of fertilizer, and provide value addition and connectivity from farm to markets. Irrigation is a critical input for increasing agricultural production and productivity. Out of 141 million hectares of net cultivated area in the country, only 46% is covered with irrigation. The Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana has been strengthened and will be implemented in mission mode. 28 lakh hectares will be brought under irrigation under this scheme. Implementation of 89 irrigation projects under AIBP, which have been languishing, will be fast tracked. This will help to irrigate 80 lakh hectares. These projects require rupees 17,000 crore next year and rupees 86,000 crore in the next 5 years. We will ensure that 23 of these projects are completed before this financial years. A dedicated long-term irrigation fund will be created in NABARD with an initial corpus of about rupees 20,000 crore. To achieve all these, a total provision of rupees 12,000 crore has been made through budgetary support and market borrowings. Simultaneously, a major program for sustainable management of groundwater resources has been prepared with an estimated cost of rupees 6,000 crore and proposed for multilateral funding. At least 5 lakh farm ponds and dug wells in rain-fed areas and 10 lakh composite pits for production of organic manure will be taken up by making productive use of the allocation of under MNREGA. The soil health card scheme is now being implemented with greater vigor. Through this, farmers get information about nutrient level of the soil and can make judicious use of fertilizers. The target is to cover all 14 crore farm holdings by March 2017. Rupees 300 crore has been provided for national project on soil health and fertility. Besides, 2,000 model retail outlets of fertilizer companies will be provided with soil and seed testing facilities during the next 3 years. Fertilizer companies will also co-market city composite, which increases the efficacy of chemical fertilizer. A policy for conversion of city waste into composite has also been approved by the government under the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. To increase crop yields in rain-fed areas, which account for nearly 55% of the country's cultivable land, organic farming is being promoted. Towards this end, the government has launched two important schemes. First, the Parampragat Krishi Vikas Yojana, which will bring 5 lakh acres under organic farming over a 3-year period. Second, the government has launched a value chain based organic farming scheme called Organic Value Chain Development in Northeast region. The emphasis is on value addition so that organic produce grown in these parts find domestic and export markets. A total provision of rupees 400 crore has been made for these schemes. Access to markets is critical for the income of farmers. The government is implementing the Unified Agriculture Marketing Scheme, which envisages a common e-market platform that will be deployed in selected 585 regulated wholesale markets. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. Sir, just to begin with the discussion on the demands for grants for the Ministry of Commerce, I will congratulate the Minister of Commerce because at least we have got this year a thicker report pertaining to the performance of the ministry than the report presented last year. It has, in fact, become a bulky report this year because of certain extra activities, increased activities in certain sphere of the ministry. The Ministry of Commerce mainly deals with the foreign trade and also certain industries which are export oriented, producing commodities for marketing in the outside countries. We think that the earning is a subsidiary rather than complementary to the total economy of the nation, and it should supplement certain aspects of the economic growth and development of the country. We have certain governmental obligation and responsibilities of maintaining relations with other countries, and for that we require foreign exchange for the development of big industries and overall industrial growth inside our country. We require certain machinery and equipment to be imported, and for that also we require foreign exchange. Our country was under colonial rule for about 200 years. Certain industries have been developed in our country, and the commodities manufactured by these industries have got to be exported. We have certain obligations in this regard. That is true, but what we see at the present moment is as if the entire economy of our country rests on the possibility of increase in export or the development of export trade in our country. Just now we were discussing the demands for grants of the Ministry of Energy. There also we have found that essential commodities like coal we cannot supply to the rural villages in our country where the fuel scarcity is immense, and there are certain other spheres also like agriculture. Also in urban areas in the industrial field, coal is essential for development of the economy. In the domestic sphere, we cannot use coal because we have not got the infrastructure of developing industries in our own country, and also we cannot supply the essential food and other necessities to the rural people, millions of our people. We have not got that market possibility. We have not developed such market possibilities in our country. Our economy is such that we have to depend upon foreign aid or some export earnings, and by exporting our own essential commodities. This is the position of the economy of our own country, and our export policy has become such that we have to find out a market every day and also a market for every item of commodity which we are going to produce in our country. Unless we get such market every day and every moment, our economy is going to suffer in many respects. In the economic survey of 2012, which has been presented recently, concern has been expressed over the larger deficit in the trade account. It is true that this year the deficit in the trade account has become the largest of all the years since our independence. It has been shown that because of the imports of certain commodities like food, fertilizer, and oil, and also because of the inflationary prices prevailing in the world market for these commodities, the import prices have gone up so high that the export earnings have failed to keep pace with the high prices for imports. That is, in a sense, well as those shown in the Economic Survey of India, you will find that in the last year we imported food not in a larger quantity than of the previous year. Crude oil too was also not imported in a larger quantity than that of the previous year. Actually, if we calculate the actual quantum of imports, it has gone down since the previous year, but the prices have gone up. The money value of imports has gone up, but the quantum of imports has gone down, and in order to keep pace with that, we are going in for export of each and every item. It has already been stated in the report that the developed countries are going to import less and less from our country. Our exports to North America and in particular to the USA, East European countries, as well as Eurozone countries are going down and down, and for that reason we are going to explore new markets in African countries. I apprehend in this way we cannot build a strong market and cannot have a concrete base for our export market if we just for this year take up certain commodities to fit into the demands of the new markets, and after 2 or 3 years they will stop importing those articles. We shall have to roam about and find out other markets. If our policy goes on like this, then we will not be able to have a stable export market. Stop. Starting in 5 seconds. Sir, there is also the very big responsibility of the foreign trade to meet the minimum requirements of the country, especially requirements of essential goods of mass consumption, which may be in short supply from time to time to save our people from the evil effects of profiteering when such a situation arises. In this, the strategy you have adopted is, as my distinguished friend has pointed out, merely to rely on one single agency, and the single agency seems to be getting bigger and bigger every day, a giant who is becoming more and more inefficient. Now, I would like to say a few words about the direction of our trade in times to come in the foreseeable future. About Russia, USA, EEC countries, and Japan will continue to be our major partners in foreign trade. There is no doubt in my mind but surely we should aim at our neighboring countries. I would, in this connection, draw the attention of the Commerce Minister to the fact that our trade with every single neighboring country in South Asia has declined. This is a sad commentary. It is a bad state of affairs. It is not a good augury for the future we envisage for this zone. I would like the Commerce Minister to plan steadily in a manner so that we do not compete against Bangladesh or any of our immediate neighboring countries such as Sri Lanka. Together, we should develop a strategy of going along with them. We should build up such capacities so that there is more exchange of goods between our country and our neighboring countries. Export subsidy has been mentioned. I find that in a few years' time from a paltry sum of rupees 35 crores, the subsidy has come to over 600 crores. How long shall our foreign trade need this crutch? This is a question which has to be put seriously and answered seriously. Any type of trade which cannot stand on its own without subsidy, even for 5 years or 10 years, should be taken off the list. It should not be in our export list at all. It should be discarded. There are fresh pastures which we can explore. The export quota, I hope the minister knows, is transferable and it is being transferred from one party to the other. We have had the export zones of Kandla and Santa Cruz. After 30 years, their total export turnover is of the order of rupees 150 to rupees 200 crores. I think this is a disgrace. I think this whole experiment needs to be reviewed. The minister announced a special relief for 100% export oriented industries as a new year gift at the end of this year. I think it was a gift only for the monopolist and for the multinationals. I think its impact on our indigenous trade should be looked into. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I would like to mention something about our joint ventures. I know that the joint ventures have been part and partial of our policy of export promotion and also of economic cooperation with the other developing countries. But I find that after so many years, these 115 units that are in operation have made a total investment of just rupees 35 crores only, and this is an insignificant sum if you take each individual country and relate it to the total industrial investment in that country. Our resources are limited, and I think we should concentrate on areas which are of immediate interest to us, and it is in these areas that we should really build up our joint venture capacity. As for the international environment, we know what the Honorable Minister has confessed in the House, and I would like to quote his words. He has said that the new international economic order and the North-South dialogue have failed. I think the new international economic order was perhaps a stillborn child. It was a device by some vested interest who were trying to arrange a certain recycling or resources, and once that our recycling of petrodollars was achieved, then there was nothing left to talk about, and the people have been taken for a ride. The UN has failed to evolve a strategy for development in this decade. The technical cooperation among the developing countries has failed to take off. The UNCTAD and the ESCAP are today the responsibility of the Ministry of Commerce, and they have given birth to a plethora of communities and subcommittees and working groups and expert committees and whatnot. I wonder what contribution that have made to the promotion of our trade. So I feel that the Ministry of Commerce should not waste its time in dealing with these organizations, otherwise it shall be too late to correct the imbalance in our trade, which is becoming bad to worse. Stop.